These recordings you see here were made from about 35 years to 50 years after the Civil War. And they have in common that they contain songs from the Civil War that were very popular after the Civil War, well into the early part of the last century. And they're, in a way, controversial because there's both sides represented, the North and the South. And the South side particularly is become rather controversial because of the business with statues and wanting to remove them. And I noticed on YouTube that, well, it's a little different. Some of the so-called coon songs no longer have their comments with them. They have been deleted. And I hope this doesn't happen with Civil War songs or Civil War related recordings, because this is history. These recordings are history as much as written material or as much as statues or any other monuments that might, and there are a number of them, monuments. I'm in the St. Louis area. We currently have a controversy regarding a Confederate veteran monument placed in Forest Park in the early part of the last century, and there's people who want to have it removed. And I've ran into the same sentiment with these early recordings, that they represent something that should be edited, and essentially editing and censoring history is basically dangerous. It's an Orwellian concept that has really some potential danger. But this is one of the delights of record collecting. With the old recordings, you run into things that are very different from what you find today in terms of culture, in terms of values, and such is the case with Civil War related recordings.
Men of valor gather round the banner on the right, for Texas and Louisiana will join us in the fight. With Davis for a president and Stevens a statesman rare, we rally around the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah! Hurrah! For Southern rights, hurrah! We rally around the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah! Hurrah! For Southern rights, hurrah! We rally around the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Here's to Virginia, the old Dominion state, who with the young Confederacy at last has linked a fate. Impelled by her example, let other states prepare to raise on high the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah! 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 For Southern rights, hurrah! We rally around the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah! 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 For Southern rights, hurrah! We rally around the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Cheer, boys, cheer, and raise a joyous shout. For North Carolina and Arkansas now have both gone out. And let another rousing cheer for Tennessee be given. For the single star, the bonny blue flag has grown to be 11. Hurrah! 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 The Southern rights, hurrah! We rally around the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah! 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 For Southern rights, hurrah! We rally around the bonny blue flag that bears a single star.
That's probably one of the more controversial cylinders or early recordings that you might have. That's the actual national anthem, or the main anthem of the Confederacy, recorded by Polk Miller, who was an officer in the Confederacy. When after the Civil War, he formed a group of farmer slaves and called it Polk Miller's Old South Quartette, which performed at Confederate reunions. And Edison recorded Polk Miller and his quartet in 1908, and you heard a selection, you heard part of a snippet of that recording, originally made on a 4-minute wax amber roll.